wide. It's still Bernd Schneider second, but Stefano Modina's attack didn't come off, and he's lost his third place to Giancarlo Fisichella. Still Mercedes second, Alfa's third and fourth, but now Giancarlo Fisichella, our new third man. Fourth is Stefano Modina, Nicola Marini is fifth, then the Mercedes of Franchitti in sixth place, and Oliver Gavin getting his own back on Hans Stuck, and Stuck goes right across the front of Oliver Gavin, nearly takes him with him. Meanwhile, Dario Franchitti piling on the pressure on Nicola Marini. They're coming to the spoon curve, and Franchitti leaves his braking impossibly late, goes storming through on the inside, and is through. Dario Franchitti is now fifth, Nicola Marini pushed down to sixth. An incredibly dramatic demonstration of just how good the Mercedes brakes are here, because there are some tight corners, there's the chicane, there's the hairpin, there's the spoon curve, and we see it again, and Franchitti gets on the brakes impossibly late, runs into a tight early apex, which allows him to squeeze through on the inside of Marini. Meanwhile, his teammate Bernd Schneider in Mercedes number 1 is pushing the leader Christian Danner very hard. We've got the two silver Mercedes moving up and putting the pressure on the Alfa Romeo. Still Bernd Schneider second. Still Fisichella third, Stefano Modina fourth, but not for much longer, because there goes Dario Franchitti doing it again. He does it at the hairpin, but Modina fights back. The two of them collide. There was definite contact between those two cars there as they accelerate out of the hairpin. Dario Franchitti pushed back down to fifth place by Stefano Modina, but I think he's going to come up to attack now. This is the spoon curve again. That very late braking gets very close up behind Stefano Modina's car, but Modina was waiting for him. No, he wasn't. Not at the second apex. Dario Franchitti goes through. And that is a demonstration, if demonstration were needed, how well these Mercedes are handling here, particularly under braking. That was the attack at the hairpin, but Modina, with a little bit of fiberglass flying, was able to get back at him. But now the Mercedes is lining up another Alfa to attack. This is Giancarlo Fisichella, same place. He's going to try and do the same thing. Fisichella is out of reach. Fisichella tries to shut the door. The two of them touch. Fisichella is bumped wide, and this is Dario Franchitti in really aggressive moves. Franchitti elbows his way past another of these red Alfas. We see it once more with Giancarlo Fisichella trying to get back to the apex to shut the door, but the Mercedes is already there, elbows him out of the way. There's contact at the front and the rear. The Alfa Romeo team in the pits are not happy about that, but Dario Franchitti is on an absolute flyer. We've now got the two Mercedes together, and Franchitti goes past his teammate. Bernd Schneider waves Franchitti past, I would imagine, because it looked as though Franchitti had no problem at all getting past teammate Bernd Schneider, and the flying Franchitti, driving the best race we've seen him drive this season, is already on the tail of the leader Christian Danner. He's attacking him. That's a replay, and there you see that indeed Schneider did wave his teammate Franchitti by. This, meanwhile, is the best-placed Opel. This is Uwe Altsen attacking Nannini. Nannini getting a little bit untidy there, and that's all Altsen needed. Altsen alongside with the weaving Nannini, trying to hold him off, but Uwe Altsen goes by into ninth place, and that could be significant for the Constructors' Championship, because Opel don't need very many more points to clinch the title here in Japan. Meanwhile, at the front, still Christian Danner holding on to this lead with the two silver Mercedes filling his mirrors. Dario Franchitti attacks once more under braking. It's amazing how late he leaves his braking for the spoon curve. He's not close enough to Christian Danner yet, or is he? You never know with Dario today, because he's driving so aggressively. That's Bernd Schneider's eye view of Franchitti ahead of him, attacking race leader Christian Danner in the red Alfa Romeos. They come over the brow, under the bridge, down towards that flat-out left-hander, and in they go with Franchitti looking at a way past. They've got the chicane to come up. There's one lap to go at the end of this one, and as they come into the chicane, Franchitti attacks. Bang! Bang! The two cars locked together, but he's through. And Franchitti leads, therefore, and there is fury in the Alfa Romeo pit. There's delight in the Mercedes pit. Franchitti now moving away from Christian Danner. Schneider still third, then the three Alfas of Fisichella, Modina and Marini. This is the final lap of the first of our two ITC races here at Suzuka, and what a tremendous battle between the Alfas and the Mercedes. Can Bernd Schneider get past Christian Danner on this final lap and make it a Mercedes 1-2? He's certainly nibbling away at the back of Danner, but Danner is doing his best to hold that position, and there are three more Alfas waiting to pick up the pieces behind them. up the hill, up that long left-hander, then towards the brow, and then they've got the braking for the hairpin to come, and that's where the Mercedes is so good. The four-wheel drive Alfa very quick out of the corners, the two-wheel drive Mercedes very quick into it, but I have a suspicion that Christian Danner, having been caught napping by Dario Franchitti, is going to make it very, very hard indeed on this final lap for Bernd Schneider to get past. Look, he keeps a very tight, close line. He goes slower around that left-hander, but keeps on the inside apex. It's not possible for Schneider to go all the way around the outside of him, and this is Danner quite sensibly and understandably driving very, very defensively indeed. You can see that Dario Franchitti has moved right away. They come into the braking point for the smooth curve, and Franchitti is out of sight as Schneider attacks, tries to find the gap big enough. Danner is going to leave him one. They now accelerate away down through that last left-hand curve and down towards the chicane. That's where it went wrong for Danner just one lap ago. Franchitti leads the field. There is Danner in second place, Schneider third, Fisichella and Modena following in the other two red Alphas. Down into the chicane now as into sight comes Franchitti. The checkered flag is waiting for Franchitti, and they go neatly through the chicane, does the second place battle, and it's going to be Danner in second place. The checkered flag waves for Dario Franchitti, his first ITC win of this year, the second of his career. Christian Danner is second, Schneider, Fisichella, Modena and Larini follow, and there's Norbert Haug of Mercedes absolutely delighted, and this was Bernd Schneider's view of that final attack by Dario Franchitti, the two cars colliding but keeping pointing in the right direction, and somehow Franchitti stays in front, and that was what won the race. There he is, Dario Franchitti, congratulated by Norbert Haug. Mercedes Alfa in race 1 at Suzuka. We'll be back with race 2 in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Suzuka for the final ITC race of 1996 and the final ITC race of all. Dario Franchitti on pole, Christian Danner alongside, but an incredible start on the left of the picture. The other silver Mercedes is that of Bernd Schneider, and Schneider has the lead. It's Schneider from Franchitti, Mercedes 1 and 2. Christian Danner getting pushed to the outside line because Stefano Modena's come up into third place. Giancarlo Fisichella's Alfa is there also in fourth. Christian Danner is fifth, then it's the Mercedes of Magnussen and Mailander. Alessandro Nannini down in eighth spot, but Mercedes 1 and 2, the two Silver Arrows have made the break. Then the trio of Alfa Romeos, and Nannini down in eighth place will not be happy with that because he wants to be second in this championship, and he's going to need a few more points to be sure of that. The three leaders running very closely, and that is Nannini going past Mailander. So Alessandro Nannini moves past Bernd Mailander. More points coming up for him. Mailander weaving about a little bit as we watch from the back of Nannini's car, and the other red and white Alfa, of course, the car of Nicola Larini, Nannini's teammate, as the leaders come into that first hairpin, and Schneider going a little bit wide there. Still Franchitti in second place. A hard-charging Stefano Modena is third. Modena was saying after the first race that he wasn't happy with the way that Dario Franchitti overtook him, and he wants revenge. In fact, it seems that the Alfa is going a little bit better than Franchitti's car at the moment. They're all very, very close indeed as they go through the smooth curve, and Modena definitely on the attack. Meanwhile, we're going to see the start. This is Bernd Schneider making that fantastic start from the second row, out-accelerating pole position man Franchitti and getting into the lead. And we see it from behind with there's Franchitti in car number 2, taking second place, absolutely surrounded by these ever-present Alfa Romeos. Franchitti in number 2. Bernd Schneider in number 1, and they're 1 and 2 in the race, followed by the Alfa. Then Alessandro Nannini getting very out of shape, and he's just lost a place to Jan Magnussen in the white Mercedes, and he won't be at all unhappy about that. Remember, he needs these points to try and ensure that he will take second place in the championship. Magnussen has displaced Nannini, and Nannini is fighting to get back. And it once again seems, as we watch Nannini's view of Magnussen going by, that the Mercedes are really working well here on the slippery, fast curves of Suzuka, the scene of the Japanese Grand Prix just a month or so ago, and Nannini once more gets tight into Magnussen, almost goes up his boot lid as they accelerate out of the hairpin, go on now towards the spoon curve, and Magnussen, who will drive for Stewart in Formula One next year, holding on and actually easing away from the Alfa Romeo as they go on now down towards the braking area of the spoon curve, and there once more you see how late the Mercedes can leave their braking, and the Alfas just can't quite seem to get close. But there are several more Alfas ahead of Jan Magnussen. It's still Mercedes 1 and 2, Stefano Modena, Giancarlo Fisichella and Christian Danner, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Then it's Magnussen in 6th place, despite all that Nannini can do. And there the yellow Opel, that is Uwe Altsen, pushing Bernd Maylander. Altsen, the best-placed Opel driver in the race. As they come very close into the chicane, he does push Bernd Maylander. Bernd Maylander spun round by Uwe Altsen, comes to a smoking, steaming halt. There's a water leak at the front of that car. It looks as though his radiator is held, or there's a leaking or torn water pipe, and that must be the end of his race. He's beached, actually. He's stuck over the curb. Altsen just clunked him in the side and the right-hand rear wheel, and then caught the front of the car as he tried to avoid it. And there's a not very happy Bernd Maylander walking away from the last ITC race. And now look at this battle. This is the battle for second place. Number 2, the Mercedes, is Dario Franchitti. Number 9, the Alfa, is Stefano Modena. No love lost between these two here in Japan today. And the tables seem to have been turned since race 1, because Franchitti now, so much on the attack in race 1, is having to drive defensively. A little moment, a little slide from the Alfa there means that Modena had his hands full for a moment. That's given Franchitti a little bit of a breathing space, but Stefano Modena clearly able to catch Dario Franchitti. Bernd Schneider has moved away in the lead, and Franchitti has his hands full. Look how close Modena gets, just getting the front wing right under the back of the Mercedes under braking for the hairpin, almost pushing him out of the hairpin up the hill, and then having that little sideways moment. Norbert Haug watching on the television screen, hoping it's not going to end in tears as Schneider comes into the chicane. Franchitti second, Modena third, Fisichella in 4th place, still Christian Danner 5th, still Jan Magnussen holding on to that 6th place, but the real battle is this battle for second place as they cross the start-finish line. Dario Franchitti, the young Scot, Stefano Modena, the very experienced Italian. They come into the long right-hander at the end of the start-finish straight. Oh, he's off! Franchitti on the cross! Franchitti off and in the barriers, and the Mercedes tips over onto its side, rocks on its door. The car is steaming, and the marshals are running towards the car, and the door opens. Dario Franchitti is getting out. It looks as though Dario Franchitti is okay. Yes, Franchitti clambers out over the upturned Mercedes, and he's clearly walking about. He's clearly okay, but we see it again. He got just a little wide on the braking for that long right-hander, and the car was off the road in an instant. And once you're on that gravel, that's it. Look at the photographer run for his life, and it could have been so much worse. But Franchitti is all right. He's out of the race, and now we're back with that battle, which is now a battle for 5th place between Jan Magnussen in the white Mercedes and the 2 Martini Alfas, with Alessandro Nannini attacking once more. Alessandro Nannini looking down the inside, has to get on the brakes, and the Mercedes moves away a little bit, shuts the door on the apex as Nannini tries to squeeze through on the inside. 2 Alfa Romeos snapping at the Mercedes' heels. And 2 Alfa Romeos off the track. Stefano Modena is off, Christian Danner is off. They were 2nd and 4th. It's now Bernd Schneider leading from Fisichella, Magnussen now 3rd, and we're watching the midfield battle among the Opels. JJ Lehto 9th, Manuel Reuter is 10th, the new champion. Yannick Dalmas is 11th. This is Hans Stuck and Klaus Ludwig. Klaus Ludwig in the yellow car, and Stuck way off. Stuck goes wide, comes back onto the track, still in front of Ludwig, but that surely will allow Ludwig to get a run at him as they go over the brow, down towards the fast left-hander that follows, and indeed Ludwig goes ahead of Hans Stuck. But all of the Opels well down. That's Dario Franchitti back in the pits. He's clearly absolutely all right, watching the race with Norbert Haug. Franchitti unhurt, but out of the race. Bernd Schneider now leading by almost 11 seconds in the 50 count. Magnussen third. Then it's Nannini and Marini and Modena, because Modena has restarted. He's running in 6th place, and indeed is moving up. Modena going just as quickly now he's back on the circuit as he was when he went off. But Bernd Schneider comfortably out in front. Schneider won the first ever ITC race at the beginning of 1995. This sadly is the last ever ITC race at the end of 1996, and Schneider is leading it. That's JJ Lehto off. Lehto in that Opel battle goes off. Uwe Alpsen goes by, and Manuel Reuter goes by. A lot of dust and gravel following Lehto back onto the track, but he's still in the race. The Opel battle, though, appropriately enough, being led by the new champion, Manuel Reuter. Reuter in 8th. Uwe Alpsen 9th. Lehto a recovering 10th. As we watch the two Martini Alphas of Nannini and Marini, and that is a replay of Lehto. You see he left his braking late just where Dario Franchitti went off, but with four-wheel drive on his Opel, was able to drag himself through that gravel and get back onto the tarmac. Yannick Dalmas in 11th place, hounded by the yellow Opel of Ludwig, and Stock with an unusual black bit of bodywork at the bottom of the nose, because he had some damage when he went off in the first race here. And JJ Lehto has repassed Uwe Alpsen. Lehto, despite that big off moment, clearly going as well as ever, but one Opel that isn't going well is Hans Stuck. That's Hans Stuck retiring. He's going to open the front and have a look. Hans Stuck is out. Bernd Schneider is leading comfortably, but look at this battle for 4th place. Stefano Modena has passed Nicola Larini to become the meat in the Martini sandwich among this three-car Alfa Romeo battle. Still Nannini 4th. Modena now 5th, Larini 6th, and Modena, I think, has been the class of the Alfa Romeo drivers here. He's got very close indeed. This is the final lap. He has a little look on the inside of Nannini's car, and they're both accelerating side by side up the hill, but Nannini hangs on with Franchitti out of the race. Nannini knows he's going to be third in the championship, whatever happens now, but he wants this 4th place. He's fighting to hold the aggressive Stefano Modena behind as they go through the smooth curve for the last time. Two identical Alfa Romeos, but Modena with his blood up, lunging up the inside, lunging up the outside, moving from side to side. Nicola Larini behind has a grandstand view as they go into this fast, long left-hander, and meanwhile, Bernd Schneider takes the checkered flag, the winner in the final ITC race, and still the Alphas battle on, and Larini watches as Nannini holds off Modena, or does he, as they come out of the chicane. Modena goes by and just pips him. Modena gets 4th place, but Schneider is the winner. And Franchitti on the podium as the winner of race 1, spraying teammate Schneider with champagne. But in the points table, behind champion Reuter, Schneider is confirmed as runner-up. And that's it. Ironic that a series that has provided so much spectacularly close racing will not be run next year. So let's pay tribute to the drivers and cars by looking back on some of the memorable moments of the International Touring Car Championship.